Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. And we're going to do things a little differently. I've been getting requests to be a little more regular as far as postings go. And well, I think it's a great idea. Unfortunately, my life has been, to say the least, a little hectic, so I figure I'll do things a little differently. Let's run down the basics. First of all, bear with me on this. It's probably going to be a little scattered. I do live recordings, meaning when I get finished, I do not go back and edit anything. So what you see is what you get. This is just me at the utmost, flaws and all. Now that being said, we'd love to see a thumbs up on the recording. Absolutely subscribe to get the rest of the videos because we're going to be covering a number of things over the next little while. I'm going to try and do this much more frequently if I can get my life organized, which, by the way, has been a challenge. You'll come to understand that as we go along. But let's start with the basics. Okay, I'm going to be covering over the course of the next while. I'm going to try and do this as frequently as possible, as in at least a short video once a day, preferably when I get up, but we'll see how that works. In the meantime, some of the topics that we're going to be covering. We are going to cover UFOs, aliens, alien technologies, the different societies. So if you've got questions on any of the above, oh, that reminds me, at the bottom of this video and all the other videos, pretty much, you'll find a list of ways of contacting me. So if you've got direct questions, absolutely drop me a line on any one of them and I will do my best to get back to it, either directly or through another video, depending on what we're doing, or depending on what the question is. Now, do understand something. There are a couple of things that I do not discuss. So you can ask all you want, doesn't matter who you are, unless it is legally required. I don't tell. And that's just the way that goes. I'm not going to tell you about my personal life, as in who I'm involved with, whether we are talking socially or whether we are talking relationship wise. It's just not going to happen. Okay, I will tell you before you jump on that, I am already spoken for, so we'll just forget that noise. Okay, I do not tell people who my contacts are or who the witnesses are that have seen some of what I've seen. Okay, or experienced somewhat of what I've gone through. I just don't do it. They have their right to their privacy. The fact I'm coming out and telling people this is what I've gone through does not mean the other people I've been involved with have that same interest. So we're not going to go there. Okay. Um, Again, I do not edit. So it's not going to come out as a professional speaker, as in completely smooth and polished. That's just not me. If you ever notice, when you look at it, many of the people that come across as extremely polished have a whole team of people behind them editing their work to make sure that it sounds perfect, that it's politically correct, that it's absolutely on the money. Now, do understand the other thing here. My experiences are mine. What I've personally gone through. A lot of people wonder whether or not, where I get my information, who I've researched, who I've read about, and this applies across the board. Okay, so we are going to cover whether you believe in them or not. That's your choice. Myself, I don't have a lot of options. I was born with this whole setup. So we are going to talk about UFOs, aliens, spirituality, religion, and the cross references and where it all comes together, the similarities between them. We're not going to pick on anybody in particular. Okay. Now, to be clear, do I believe in God? Absolutely. Probably more so than most people. That said, there's a very simple saying that goes, God is known by many names on many worlds. What you call God, what you call your spiritual guide, to me is irrelevant. The real relevant factor is whether you treat each other decently. Okay, We are going to talk about business. We're going to talk about communication, relationships, right across the board. But we're going to start with the journey, as in, where did I come from? Well, where I came from is pretty cut and dried. Born in a small town on Vancouver Island, a military town, very strong religious beliefs. At least when I was growing up there. I honestly don't know what they're like now. I haven't lived there in 35 years. Okay. I'm about to hit 58 years old. Okay, matter of fact, in May of this year, May 13th, I will actually hit 58 years. Now, in that time, I have been, now, of course, before I say that, people will ask, well, why should you listen? Why should you listen to me? To me, it's not an issue really of whether you do or not. And I cannot give you a viable reason to listen to me. But since you're here, why listen? Well, because it's really silly to turn the thing on and just stare at the little blue boxes behind me. Okay, so you might just as well listen to what I'm saying, or turn the music on if you like what you're looking at. Hey, what the heck? Who am I to judge? Myself, I avoid the mirror. I find it kind of odd looking at my own picture while I'm recording these. But many people know me from the psychic world, like from the psychic community, because I have been working as a professional psychic, professional being generating an income since 1986. No, yeah, since 86. 96, in 1996, I left the hospitality industry. I spent 24 years in restaurants, working in virtually every capacity, except never became a mainline cook, which is probably a good idea. Now, that being said, I've had my financial troubles, I've had my struggles, the whole 9 yards, and we're not going to go into the whole history of it except for one little factor. Okay, and that little factor is that I have been bankrupt twice. Once by what I call creative stupidity. Okay, managed to drive my own credit card bills and everything else way too high based on what I consider stupid purchases. The second time was because of something I couldn't compensate for, because my paycheck bounced, and I not only didn't know it bounced, but the bank didn't tell me until it was way too late, and it snowballed out of hand. The worst part of it was that looking back on it, I went bankrupt at the guidance of professionals. Okay. Now, you'll hear me often say the term so-called professionals, because from what I came to understand after the fact, there is no reason on the planet that I should have gone bankrupt on $6,000 the first time and $14,000 the second. Now, that was just plain irresponsible guidance on the part of the financial advisors, in my opinion. Okay. Now, where that has led to is my own path, where I am now, fortunately, debt-free. Okay, I owe a couple of people money, but if I don't hear from them, I can't do anything about it. Okay, now, that being said, the creditors, the collection agencies that I've dealt with over the years, for years and years, okay, I no longer have to deal with them. I no longer have any of that kind of a stress. I've got a nice little modest place to live. Okay. A whopping size, like I've got a 3-bedroom main floor apartment. Okay, this is what you're seeing in here is the one room where I do all of my recording. Okay. So this is just some of where I've been through. Medically, my history is nuts. Okay, I've been a working medium since I was born. Literally, the day I was born, I saw my first set of spirits, and they haven't shut up since. Interesting story all in itself, but we'll get to that, or you can ask questions. Doesn't matter. Okay, on that same journey. Well, that came out well. On that same journey, I ran into my first set of off-worlders and the Council of 12. I've had my run-ins, my agreements with what with what I call God or what I call Father. Okay, now understand that there's a very big difference between a father and my dad. That's a whole different ballgame. I'm talking my spiritual father. Some of you would call him God, some would call him other things. Him, her, it doesn't matter. Okay. I've had my run-ins, I've had my drifting away from my belief structure. I've had all kinds of struggles. Now, the reality is, my life to me has been more like science fiction than anything else. To make matters worse, okay, I have been role-playing, as in playing tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, since 1976. I was 13 when I started. I am also subsequently a science fiction and science fantasy author, as well as having published, well, I've got a science fiction novel out. I've got a reference manual. Now, the science fiction novel, well, let's see if we can do part of this. That depends entirely on whether I can get it or not. Now, I talk about things that I've done. Now, do understand, the tools that I work with are the ones that I personally use. Okay, and you can't see it here, but let's start with the obvious. Okay, 4 words that I recommend anybody put on their fridge in a place where they can see it regularly. Now, I cannot show it, and the next time I do a video, I will try and make sure that I get it out. But I have in here a hand-burned, as in using magnifying lens in the sun, sign that says, I am worth it. These are the 4 most powerful words where it comes to self-esteem that I have personally come across. Okay, now, let's go back on that fighting thing here. Some of the books that we have written. Let's see if I can reach it without actually hanging myself. We have this neat little thing. This is the birth of the wolf pack. Okay, Yldrbac, the latter years. Now, there is a whole long line of information that goes with this book, so we're not getting into it right now. That's for another time. Okay, then we have a reference manual called called Races of the World. Okay, now this particular book documents, this one in particular documents 59 different races that I've personally dealt with. Now, whether you believe I've dealt with them or not is not my concern. Whether I believe or whether I feel that I can functionally say yes, that would be more my concern. Then we have a couple of other very important little books. This one here, called Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams. Okay. That one tells the simple tools that I personally used to get where I am today. And then we've got this funny little one. Believe in your business and follow your dreams. Okay. Now, I also have a children's story called Mr. Dreamcatcher. I've only got a few copies of it in print, and this is one of the problems I run into. I've got too many things on the go, I'm sure of it. Now, just to make matters more entertaining, these little things here. Okay, these are little plastic figures, and I actually paint them with toothpicks. Okay, those blue boxes behind me here, those are all full of them. Again, I've managed to tie most of my life all into one nice little package. But how did we get there? Well, first of all, I only teach 3 laws. Okay, now, like I said, I do believe in God. And there's a whole lot of different ways of looking at that. But take a look at whatever religion you follow. Whichever religion, doesn't matter. Compare the laws, the guidelines that you have in your own belief structure. And ask yourself if they fit in these 3 laws. Be true to yourself. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, take a look at all of the different laws that you follow. In the Christian religion, it's the 10 Commandments. Okay, I know there are the guidelines in the Church of Satan. The Sikhs have their own. Every religion has its own. Okay, now I've personally looked at the guidelines for Christianity, Judaism, the Muslim religion, Buddhism, um, several others, the Cree Nation, the Wiccans, the witches, all of the, like, I've looked at these ones myself and have seen the doctrines and have them actually written down on file in my possession. Okay. And I can tell you, those religions, the 3 laws cover all of them. Now, it was once said that the most complicated thing and the most ingenious thing anybody ever did was take the simplest concepts and make them complicated. Well, if you follow those 3 laws that we just listed, you'll find that things get a whole lot easier. Okay. They're easy to understand. No, I don't sit still very well. Might be because of the fact I've got this stuff running on an IV or something like that. Actually, I really don't. I've only got a 30-cup urn up front. But those 3 karmic laws are the important factor. Now, where I am right now, okay, other than in my office, is I am currently, as I said, I've managed to get debt-free. I'm in the middle of eliminating all the excess junk that I don't personally feel I require. Whether it's physical stuff, whether it's thought processes, part of this journey, part of the reason I've decided to do this, is to enable me to get a handle on what I'm doing. Okay. Now, whatever your dream, whatever your goal, whether it's to become debt-free, whether it's to become a pop star, whether it's to become a professional author, whether it's to journey the world, travel the world, knock yourself out. First rule of thumb. Okay, and this is going to probably, well, in all fairness, a lot of what I say may upset some people. And I would apologize to them, except for the fact that I know it's going to happen, and all the apology in the world isn't going to matter. But here's a concept that, again, everything that I've gone through and the tools I talk about are what I personally have seen. Okay, or what I've personally borne witness to. Now, in my journey as working as a professional psychic, as a professional counselor, okay, I have dealt with in excess, a staggering number, in excess of 80,000 clients. Okay, now these are people that have come to me trying to figure out how to get on track. Now, it's said that if you're not on track, how can you possibly guide somebody else? Well, for somebody as scattered as I am, it's amazing how many people have told me I gave them exactly what they required to get on track. So let's hope the same applies in this case. Okay, now, the other issue here that I've also been told a lot is when you're trying to do something successfully, okay, talk to somebody that has done it successfully. If your goal is to become a millionaire, if your parents are not actually millionaires, talking to them about how to become a millionaire is a little bit counterproductive. They're not likely to be able to give you much guidance. Okay, if you want to talk to, if you want to talk to somebody about becoming a millionaire, I'm probably the last person you want to talk to. Well, not quite, but the reality is I'm not a millionaire. I may one day get there, but the reality for me is the money is not my biggest concern. I desired to be debt-free. I am. It took me 57 and a half years to get there. Okay, and I could have done it a long time ago if I had only known then what I know now. Unfortunately, my parents passed away a couple of years ago, and their estate has literally enabled me to become debt-free. Now it's up to me to stay that way. Okay. Same as it's up to you. Now, success can only be attained by the individual. Anybody can give you the guidance that you require. Okay, and we do mean, when I say the guidance you require, I do mean literally the guidance that will help put you on track. Now, I was guided to go bankrupt. This was absolutely irresponsible on the part of the bankruptcy trustee. At the debt load I was absolutely not necessary. It was not necessary to go there. So when I'm offering you directions, these are tools I personally use that have personally successfully worked for me. Okay, there are a few things, well, there's a number of things I've told people how to do that I've gotten enough feedback with the number of clients and the number of people I've talked to that I get the feedback that I can say it's worked for all these other people. It may well work for you. Now, it may not. Okay, I do not make guarantees. The only thing I will guarantee you, the only thing I guarantee anybody, is I will not lie to you to make you feel better unless you directly ask me to. Okay, now, I have been accused in the past of, number one, not following the karmic law as I talk about it. And I have had my failings. Okay, I have absolutely fallen short on occasion. I've reacted in anger, I've reacted in fear, I've done a whole lot of stupid things. Okay, and yes, no, I didn't. I had way more than my fair share of alcohol and drugs when I was younger. I don't touch the drugs at all anymore, unless, of course, we count caffeine. Okay, and alcohol, I used to kill a 26er a night. Okay, I now go through a drink or two a year. So, again, we're talking about tools that I personally use. Okay, where I am at this point is I've got my office working where I can actually function in it. I've got a lot of the junk out of the way. And I've got plans listed on that. I've got a list of goals that I desire to do. Okay, that I desire to accomplish. Okay, now I will be doing this from time to time throughout the next little while. Okay, I don't expect you to read this. Okay, this is just scrap paper. Doesn't matter what it says on the back. On the front, it's just got all you can probably see there is just squiggles. That's okay. I don't write well. Okay, but I keep a list of the different goals that I've got. And what I did, I found out a while back, a very successful gentleman, and he did the same thing. He told me, if you desire to be successful, there's a couple of tricks to it. First and foremost, a list works. Take the first, wherever you are right now, whatever you're doing, if you're ready to begin, grab a sheet of paper, or when you are ready to begin, grab a sheet of paper and write down the first 3 goals that you know you've got to get accomplished. Now, this may be something as simple as, like, when I get up in the morning, right, one of the first goals I have to do is I make absolutely certain I get a meal into me, because I don't function well without breakfast. Now, some people can function fine without breakfast. Some people function terrible if they have it. That's not the issue. Okay, put the first 3 goals down that you require. Okay, that you know you've got to get done. Keep them down to 15-minute to half-hour jobs. When you get one finished, check it off and write a third one down at the bottom. Starting with that, you will be able to get things going, and you'll start feeling like you're getting things accomplished. Now, remember, these are things for you. Now, they may involve helping other people, but that's okay. Right now, what I did was I took the time today to rearrange my workstation so that I can sit here, and you'll see the mess behind me. I mean, there's a lot of junk. I spent 57 years as a professional pack rat. Okay, my whole house used to look like this, only it was stacked all the way to the ceiling. Okay. Oh, I did forget to mention, just real quickly, I do have 2 boys and an ex-wife. Now, I managed to when I got divorced after 16 years. I'm still friends with my ex-wife. Okay, we still get along fine. We've had our differences, obviously, or we wouldn't be divorced. However, the real catch to all of it is communication, making sure that you're following what works. Okay, and again, this is just to say where you are. Okay, whatever you're going through, you got to understand everything goes in cycles. Okay, now the most bizarre thing that I can tell you from my standpoint, aside from the off world interactions that I've dealt with, is the fact that at 5 years old, I walked out of the morgue. Now, this was confirmed by my father on his deathbed. Okay. No, I don't have medical records. No, I'm not interested in going back and finding out. I've got the memories, and that works well enough for me. Okay, and I've got the corroboration from the only people that mattered, and both of them are deceased. Okay, so do I look at death a little differently than most? Absolutely. But where I'm starting from here is right now I've reorganized my workstation. I've got a whole pile of, I've got a shelf over here that I've got a bunch of stuff on, and books. I've got the books in the inventory sitting here. Okay, my journey as far as writing went started when I was in grade 10. Okay, that novel I showed you, literally I wrote the original outline back in grade 10. Okay, and I never gave up on it. It just took a while to get to where it is. But it was a goal I had and one I have attained. And I will tell you, every goal you have, almost every goal you have, there is the possibility of making it happen. Now, you can get pretty ludicrous. Okay, and I call it ludicrous when you go right outside. Like, for instance, I wish I were a metamorph, meaning I wish I was able to physically transform the way that I look. And that you can't do. However, the next video I do, probably first thing in the morning, we'll get into how you can transform your life from where it is right now to where you desire it to be in step-by-step procedures. Okay, and the goal from my standpoint is to try and do this every morning before I get started, like before I get started my day, and see where this goes. We're going to try and get on no, we're going to get on a regular schedule, but the odds are there will be hiccups on the way. So, for the time being, I'm going to cut this off because, well, I've been going at this for half an hour and I feel like I've gone around in circles. Don't know about you, but until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.